What is up, humans of the cardboard? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we got the final 20 cards for Burst of Destiny reveals. That includes like 7 more Beetrooper cards. That includes some imports from the OCG and some random support cards we didn't foresee, like a new danger card. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. It's going to be a little bit jank because Yugipedia is not updated yet. Yu-Gi organization doesn't have the stuff yet because they're just trying to pull clips and pictures from all of the YugiTubers videos. So I get it, but I'm a little bit on a time crunch. I just want to get this out to you. What's important is what these cards do, not how they look just yet. But a lot of them do look sick. So first off, let's start off with some of these TCG exclusives, because I don't think this card already exists, but this is Night Sword Serpent. It's a water level 4 reptile monster, 500 attack, 600 defense, so really low stats. But if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. Phenomenal. Like this actually just seems really good for like Ogdoadic or just reptile decks in general. I mean, this just becomes another decent snake rain target because the body just comes back for free immediately, and then it's immediate trigger fodder. Also, this card can be returned to the grave by the one Ogdoadic monster. I believe it's Alert, and the deck wants to make rank 4s anyway. So very, very cool. Nice card for them. Snake rain target, even just the water lily target, or even if you have to pitch him from hand, he will still trigger nonetheless. So great little extender for those kinds of decks. Next up here we have DD Assault Carrier, level 8 Dark Machine, 25/25 for the stats. Cannot declare an attack unless you banish one card from your grave. Interesting. If exactly 3 of your cards are banished, you can special summon this card from the hand, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So pretty interesting. You have to have exactly 3 banished cards, and then this guy can just jump out of the hand. Might be a specific deck that wants to use this. I don't know off the top of my head, but it doesn't seem too bad. He just like has a body, a level 8 extending body, and it's Dark Machine, so maybe some Orcus stuff. Who freaking knows, but not bad. Next up, we have Abyss Keeper. I actually like this card quite a bit. I think this card's kind of cool. So this is a water fish link monster. It's a link 2, points down, left, down, right, 1500 attack, and it takes any 2 water monsters. Love the genericness there. He cannot be used as link material the turn he is link summoned. That is the only bad part about this card that I could gripe with, but it is what it is. If this card is link summoned, you can special summon 1 fish monster from your hand to your zone this card points to. Not that bad, like kind of has that like with the gadget link effect, right? Just pulls another monster out of the hand. I like that it's any fish, no level restrictions there. So isn't there like the big fish that can like tribute itself to summon like 5 fish from the deck or something? That's kind of crazy. That could be something cool there. But you can target 1 other fish monster you control and 1 card your opponent controls, banish those cards. That's pretty nice as well, right? That removal, permanent banishing removal. I don't love that it's other. I wish I could have had the potential of just making this card and banishing himself and another monster, but I get why they didn't do that. That might be a little bit too strong generically. A lot of water support's coming very soon anyway, so I get it. But I still think it's a cool card. Nice removal, pulls fish out of the hand. Could be a shark support card depending on some things. We'll see, because they do play a lot of fish. Anyway, moving on here, we have a new trap card called Apex Predation. If you control a normal summoned or set monster, that's it. Just any normal summoned or set monster, destroy all special summoned monsters on the field until the end of your next turn after this card is activated. You cannot normal summon or set. Very interesting. So this card is obviously pretty powerful. This seems like kind of like almost like a Torrential Tribute-esque card. Torrential Tribute, a little more generic, just needs any summon, destroys everything on the field, not just special summon monsters. So normal summon and set stuff can be destroyed also with Torrential. But I still think this is a pretty powerful card. I mean, it's a normal trap, so it's searchable off of like trap trick and stuff. I think this one's interesting. I definitely think it is. I mean, it does lock you out of normal summon or setting for the next turn, but if you're playing a control deck and this card helps you maintain control, you probably don't need to summon on the next turn. So interesting card. Definitely a solid trap there. Just not sure. It's just, I think it's a little too similar to traps that just do it a little bit better. Needle Sealing and Torrential Tribute being first to come to mind there. All right, then we move into some Beetrooper stuff. Hell yeah. Okay, so starting off here, we have Beetrooper Assault Roller. Three of these cards I think were already released a couple days ago, but let's just barrel through them here. So this is level 4 Earth Insect, 16/14 for the stats. You can special summon this card from your hand by banishing an insect from the grave. Oh, cool. It says Tekapede. You can only special summon him once per turn this way. He gains 200 attack for each insect monster you control except for himself. And when he's destroyed by battle, you can add one Beetrooper monster from your deck to your hand, except for Assault Roller. Oh, yeah. This card's pretty nice. I think it just probably replaces Tekapede in the list. Like, the only thing Tekapede does better than this card is it's slightly bigger, but this card can be normal summoned, which could come up in specific situations. 2, it has Beetrooper in the name, so it can make your counter trap live. And 3, it's also still like Earth Insect. Like, all the stats are the same as far as like those credentials, and so it is still searchable off of Gokipol, which is really, really solid. So we will take that all dang day. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good card. I think it's probably like a 1 of or a 2 of replacing Tekapede in the list, making it a little bit more Beetrooper pure. Next up here, we have Beetrooper Light Flapper. This is a level 6 water insect, 2,000, 2,200, so stats are decent. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target 2 of your Beetrooper monsters with different names that are banished and or in the graveyard and add them to your hand. But for the rest of this turn, you cannot activate their effects or the effects of cards with their names. Secondly, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can return this card to the hand, and if you do, negate that attack. You can only use each effect of Light Flapper once per turn. This card's this card's okay. It's not my favorite. Obviously, it is a brick. Straight up a brick. The deck does not really do a ton to summon insects from the hand, to like pull them out of the hand. I mean, I guess technically you could use Armor Horn to gain additional normal summon and tribute the Armor Horn for this, banish 3 from grave to get Armor Horn back, and then go from there. But in that instance, you probably wouldn't have enough banished to even use Light Flapper's add back effect. Also, Light Flapper only adds back exactly Beetrooper monsters, so it does not add back any insect. So unfortunately, it doesn't like reset resonance insects or anything. I'm honestly not sure this card has a place in the deck. Like, the best case I can see is like if we get like more really good Beetrooper main deck names where like the deck is almost entirely Beetroopers and you banish them really easily, and this card's like getting them back for like a really strong follow-up plays, because you like 2-card combos, like follow-up is like what the deck does. So I don't know. I think this card kind of misses the mark for me. I think it probably won't end up having a spot in the deck. Next up, we have another card that did get revealed earlier. This is Heavy Beetrooper Mighty Neptune. He is a level 8 Earth Insect, 3,000, 3,000, and this is how he reads. He cannot be normal summoned or set. He must first be special summoned from hand by shuffling 3 banished insects back into the main deck. During the main phase, if this card in its owner's control is destroyed or banished by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card. You can only use this effect of Mighty Neptune once per turn. And also once per turn during the end phase, you can target one other insect monster you control. It gains 1,000 attack permanently. Okay, so kind of a lot going on here. His summoning condition isn't bad, right? I think that's pretty easy to set up. We have Armor Horn, we have other extenders that banish from grave, right? So not the end of the world there. The one thing I do not like about his summoning condition, though, is that it says the monsters have to be shuffled back into the main deck, which means after you've used Armor Horn, you can't send Armor Horn back to the extra. So takes a little bit of recursion away there, where we would have been able to maybe not need to play 3 Armor Horn as much, but that's not the biggest deal. It just means you do have to make sure you have 3 in the banish zone. But still, also his main phase effect is fine, right? He's just big, and he makes it so it's like annoying for your opponent to work around. So I do like that it's another big annoying body to put on field. Like, just ending on this plus Atlas is actually pretty threatening, just from a standpoint of like, how do I clear these monsters without making sure they like come back or float or you know, just annoy me, right? That could definitely be an annoying thing to see there. And then the last effect is just fine, right? If you're going to end on him, you obviously don't want to be buffing Atlas because Atlas will lose his protection if he's above 3,000 attack. But if you had another monster on field, it wouldn't hurt to just give it a nice little 1,000 buff. I think about like Papillon, making that bigger could be nice, making that a little harder to work around for your opponent as well. So there's a couple different things there, but I still think this card's pretty good. I think this is a one of for sure because I don't love that you have to wait all the way until you have 3 banished insects, but I do think it's still pretty decent. It's a playable card, helps you play through Nib a little bit, and we'll take that, right? All right, next up we have a new fusion. I know it seems crazy, but yes, the deck went a fusion route. It is Ultra Beetrooper, Absolute Hercules. He is a level 11 Earth Insect Fusion monster with 4,000 for the stats. He takes 4 insect monsters to fuse. After this card is fusion summoned, it is unaffected by other cards' effects until the end of your next turn. At the end of the battle phase, you can target 1 insect monster with 3,000 or less attack in your grave. Special summon it. And you can only use that effect once per turn. Okay. I mean, all in all, I think this card is pretty powerful, right? But it takes 4 insects. I just think, like, in what world are we making a 4,000 towers instead of making something else? And with the easy access that, like, every deck has to something like Access Code Talker, like, I don't know if I'm ready to do this. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever be trying to set this monster up unless I already had access to, like, the counter trap and, like, other hand traps in hand. And at that point, I'm like, why would I throw away four resources to make this card when I already had like a solid setup with Atlas? I get it, it's not unaffected, but he's still good and he still offers more follow-up, I feel like, longevity wise than this card. So I don't know, this card kind of misses the mark for me. If it was like 2, maybe even 3 insects, I might be a little more into it, just as playing it as a one of and like the fusion as a one of, but I think it misses the mark overall for me. Next up, another card here that was revealed earlier this week. It says Special Summon a Beetrooper token. It's a normal spell, by the way, Beetrooper Descent. Special Summon a Beetrooper token. Then, if you control an insect monster with 3,000 or more attack, you can destroy 1 spell or trap on the field. Nothing too crazy. I think the token's fine, but this deck really wants to get insect bodies in grave. So as an extender, it's not quite as good as I originally thought it might be. And some people else thought as well, but meh. And then the spell and trap destruction, if you need to have a 3,000 or higher monster on the field to make that live, it kind of like stinks because like ideally you would have baited all important spell and trap cards your opponent had way before getting a 3,000 body on the field. So this card to me is okay. It might be a one of just in case you do just need to search for an extra body, but outside of that, I don't really see it being too important. Next up is Beetrooper Landing. I believe this is the new fusion spell. Yep, fusion 1 insect fusion monster from your extra using monsters from hand or field as fusion material. If this card is in your grave, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish 2 insects from your grave to add this card back to your hand. Now, pretty much long story short, if this card said we could like banish materials from grave and or maybe shuffle materials from banish back into the deck to fusion summon, then maybe I'd play it. Like this as a one of and the fusion monster as a one of, because they don't take much investment to your main deck. They don't take away a ton of consistency, but they do give you a really strong option. And if you can summon it efficiently like that by banishing or shuffling, instead of having to use 4 resources from field and hand, I'd be into it, but it doesn't. So this card kind of stinks. And the last Beetrooper card here for today we have is Beetrooper Squad. Is a normal trap. You contribute 1 non-token insect monster to special summon up to 1 Beetrooper token for every 1,000 original attack that tributed monster. This is fine, I guess. You have to have something 2,000 to tribute just to even get 2 tokens. So I don't know, this card's just way too slow in my opinion. If there was some payoff for it, like, oh, we got a disruption, like by summoning the tokens that the deck like wanted to set up, then like that's one thing, but I don't really I don't know how we're setting up disruption with this card. It just seems way too slow just to get a couple bodies on the field. All right, then we move to a bunch of imports here. These are from an old, like 2 over 2-year-old like structure deck from the OCG. This is flip frozen. If he's sent to the graveyard, you can change all attackers or monsters your opponent controls to defense position. Funny. This is Rebuilder. When he destroys a monster by battle, you can reborn a 1500 attacker less Cyberse monster from grave. Funny. Threshold Borg. This card's actually not a horrible extender. If you control no monsters, you can special summon this card by discarding a Cyberse, and then all your opponents continuously lose 500 attack. Pretty cool. Cyanide Crosswipe. This one's actually really exciting to me because this is one of the cards that I am excited for Code Talkers. I saw this first, and then I was like, oh my god, is Heat Soul in this set? Heat Soul is not in this set, unfortunately. But this card is nice to see, and it shows that Konami is like, we're getting stuff imported. Slowly and steadily, we will get Heat Soul someday. But this card's cool. It's searchable off of Microcoder, and it says tribute a Cyberse monster, the target a card on the field, and destroy it. It's a quick play, so it's an out to Mystic Mine, and it's also an out to like other floodgates, which is honestly pretty nice. So, you know, we'll take that. We'll take something like main deckable that outs stuff like that. It's pretty versatile. And then we have this card. I remember this card was from like a weird product in the OCG. Bayonet Punisher. Apply these effects in sequence depending on the monster card types of Boral monsters you control and or in your grave. If you control a monster with 3,000 or more attack, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. If you have a fusion, banish a monster your opponent controls. By the way, keep in mind this is depending on monster cards of Borals you control and or in grave. So you could have just comboed through a fusion, a synchro, an exit, a link, and just as long as they were in there, you would have been able to use all these effects. So the first one is just non-targeting banish a monster. The second synchro is banish 3 random face-down cards from your opponent's extra deck. That can win you the duel sometimes. Exit, banish 1 spell or trap your opponent controls, non-targeting as well. And link, banish up to 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard, again, non-targeting. So long story short, like this could be a really funny card, and unfortunately it's definitely not searchable, but it is one of those cards where like if you did a combo going through like at least a fusion and a link, then like this card just says like non-target banish any monster on the field and non-target banish 3 cards from your opponent's grave. Like that will end turns. That will straight up beat some meta decks that are graveyard reliant. Card's pretty crazy. But I get it. It's like non-searchable, so it's not reliable. Cyanide Cascade here. If you link summon, it's a trap. If you link summon a link monster, target 1 monster in your grave used for it and special summon it. Not too crazy. It's a trap. If it was a spell, it'd be pretty like spicy, but unfortunately not. And I believe that finishes us up for the day here. Oh, no, there's 2 more. Real quick. Brave Drive is one. For some reason, I couldn't see anybody updated with this, but here we go. Brave Drive, I think he was from one of the structure decks. Once per turn, when your Cyberse monster declares an attack, you can discard a monster. That attacking monster gains 600 till the end of the turn. Card is horrible. And the last one today is Danger Disturbance. Actually, a new danger card. So this card reads as a field spell. When your danger monster is destroyed by battle with an opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. Okay, sure. Then you can also banish 3 danger spells and traps with different names from your graveyard to destroy all cards on the field. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except danger monsters. So horrible. It takes 3 different danger spells and traps, not even monsters, spells and traps specifically, which most of the other ones are not good, to wipe the opponent's board. So pretty funny there, but I don't know, interesting stuff. I think Crosswipe is interesting to me, and then like obviously some of the Beetrooper stuff is like playable one-ofs, but I don't know, guys. We just came into this, and I just want to preface this last thing before we go here. As far as the Beetrooper stuff goes, because I know this was some of the most anticipated stuff as far as the final reveals for the set go. I didn't think we needed these too much. I mean, listen, if the Inzector spell does what we think it does, we didn't need anything from this wave of support to be good. We just didn't need it. The deck already does an insane job at like connecting to all the different pieces in the deck. Everything's very searchable. We got some nice little cards here. I think Assault Roller and like Neptune are like the 2 solid like one-of cards you add in, maybe 2 of Assault Roller, depends on what you want to do there. And other than that, I don't think maybe Descent's a one-of as well. So like we got some interesting cards here. I'm not that worried about it, because if the new spell, as long as the new spell from Inzectors doesn't have a crazy restriction saying like you're locked into Inzectors, that would suck. Or you have to already like do something crazy just to even make the card live. As long as it's like just kind of like Zodiac Barrage, but for Inzectors, then we are fucking in here, boys. I'm telling you, okay? It didn't matter what these cards do. It's kind of still a bummer that like some of them are just like, yeah, that's just straight up not worth, like the fusion stuff, but still. I still think the deck has huge potential, so keep an eye on it. As soon as we get that Inzektor card revealed, I will bring that to you because it's going to be hype. But that's going to do it for here today, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on all the new cards, the 20 final cards we're going to be getting here. I told you what I'm excited about, some of the Inzektor stuff, or some of the Beetrooper stuff, and I guess Signet Crosswipe. That's mainly it. Oh no, Night Sword Serpent's pretty cool too, and Abyss Keeper. That's and a Apex Predation. There's some cool cards in there. Definitely don't sleep on everything there. Definitely give them a look there if you're interested. But that is going to do it from here today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not yet and you want to see more stuff from me in the future, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.